Mount lesson number 2. In this lesson, we're going to get an overview of Hodger's cross choke from when he enters from the side control position. This lesson is linked to the side control to mount, which is lesson 1 from side control, because we're going to use that side control to mount transition to be able to set up this cross choke. This setup only works on when I'm in the side control on this side of Alex. So let's start here. Now, as we covered in side control to mount transition, we're going to review this here, but you can review it in more detail if you want to take a look at that lesson. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to get good shoulder pressure with this arm. I'm going to reach really far towards the camera, and then I'm going to come underneath his armpit. And what that does is it provides good connection, just like the last lesson with my bicep on his carotid artery. I've covered this in a number of my lessons, so you can see it used in a number of different positions other than side control. Reach towards the camera, come underneath the armpit. Now what that does, allows me to, when I lay my weight on him, to start to crush his carotid artery on the one side. From here, I'm going to pin his hips, and my hands almost overlap from this position. Now my objective from here is going to be to cross his legs so that it's going to facilitate an easier way to get underneath his arm and in the good position to go to the mount. So we'll break that down. Right here, I'm pinning his hip, and right here. Now I'm going to get in the leg position like this. And I'm going to start to walk around like this until his hips, they probably won't fall all the way down, but they start to cross a little bit. So I'm pinning his hip here and I walk. I'll show you the leg position from the opposite side, but it's basically this. Get out of the way for a second. It's right here. This leg is up, this leg is not touching in the back, and I'm laying all of my weight onto my opponent's neck. And that's why it's important to make good contact with your bicep on his carotid artery. So right here with that leg position, good contact underneath here, this position. And then I lay all my weight on this right here, and I walk. Now from here, once his legs start to be turned, maybe they won't be turned all the way, I'm gonna reach back with this arm, actually come along his belt, I was just exaggerating here. I come along his belt, and then I lace in between his legs like this. Now, from this point, I'm gonna bring my left leg right on his butt and then fan open my leg. I find that this is the best way to get your knee underneath his armpit, because when his lower body is turned this way and his upper body is on the ground, it's really hard for its elbow to stay connected with the ground. And that's what makes it difficult to just circle in from the side control. So when he's like this, I can easily fan open and get that good arm position. So with the good arm position now, I can focus on going into the mounted position. From here, I'm gonna now abandon this that was on his legs, and I'm gonna put my head on the ground, and I'm gonna drive my knee into the space right here. Now, from this position, I'm going to underhook his arm and then start walking it up. Now, if he at any point squares up his legs, all I need to do is come over into the mounted position. I need to start walking his arm up if his legs are still on this side. And as his arm walks up and my head kind of circles around like this as I'm walking his arm, he's gonna be very uncomfortable. And a lot of the times the reaction is to bring your legs back up into the center position, at which point you can take them out. And then we're gonna start to address why this transition to the mount is beneficial to the cross choke. So we're right here. We've got already crossed his legs. Right here, our head's here. Now, this leg is in tight on the back, and it's making it difficult for his arm to be inside the party here. And you're gonna see how that's gonna be an effect to the cross choke. When I walk up, right here, as I start to posture up, I can block his arm from getting in to protect his cross choke, and then I can get my lead arm in. My lead arm is really the key step of getting the cross choke. There's two really difficult portions of the cross choke. First is getting your lead arm in. And when I have this good position of his arm and I get into the mounted position, I can use my arm to block. One arm isn't sufficient to block the cross choke. So I'm gonna come over his arm or underneath his arm and get the cross choke from here. So unlike lesson number 1 from the mount, which we set it up from real low and opened it up regardless of, when we pass from the half guard position, this one, we're already blocking his arm and we posture up a little bit and we get in this lead arm. Now once we get in the lead arm, everything is gonna be the same.
Here Hodger is working from the side control position. He's using his right leg to manipulate his opponent's hips so he can cross them. From here on out, it's everything we saw in the video. He assumes the leg position, crosses his opponent's legs by throwing his arm through, gets his good leg position underneath his arm, head on the mat, and he drives his knee across into the mounted position. Now from here, take a look at Hodger's left arm. It's blocking his opponent's right arm outside. He's keeping that good leg position that he had and established from the side control. With the main problem solved of getting his lead arm in, he's now able to work the cross choke and going to solve the next problem, which is dealing with the umpa. In this particular match, his opponent forcefully gave Hodger his back, and Hodger ended up finishing the match there.